What's going on, guys? Rob at 3STRONG here. I want to talk about salad dressing. I was asked what dressing I put on these salads. These wonderful mix of veggies, meat, some fruits, whatever the heck you want to put in there. And there's actually a couple ways to go with the dressings. If we're really just looking at the nutrient content, so I'm really just talking about proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. If we want to keep our carbs low to help us kind of lean out and lose weight, that we need to really be strategic in what we put into the salad, and especially on top of the salad in terms of the dressings. So what I mean by that is that if you want to go with a lower carbohydrate option, then definitely, if you're going to go with the fruit in there, we don't want a dressing that has sugar in it because that's just going to be added sugar on top of the sugar that we already have in there, which would be that fruit. So to go with a lower carbohydrate option, definitely don't put the yams or the sweet potatoes in there. Don't put the fruit in there. And so then what you would go with would be this. This is what I put on my salad. I will sometimes just go with sauerkraut. You can't really see that too well, but this is a little cup of sauerkraut. I will typically, if it's just my vegetables and no lettuce, I'll usually just go with the sauerkraut just to create some, a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of that sourness, a little bit more flavor without really adding any calories to it, not really putting any salt or sugars on it, no fat. It's just flavor without the calories. But not everyone's a fan of sauerkraut, so then what do you go with? I typically go with olive oil. I'll go with olive oil if I do want to put some sort of dressing on it. I will drizzle some olive oil over the top, enough to make sure that I kind of get a thin coating. I like to have a nice thin coating over all the lettuce, so I'll just drizzle a little bit of olive oil over the top, and then I will actually put some salt over the top of that. Not a tremendous amount of salt, but again, just kind of enough, a nice little sprinkling over the top to make sure that I get it on the lettuce without going overboard. And that combination I find is really nice, because the three things that make food taste really good are sugar, fat, and salt. We just happen to have those in very large quantities in a lot of our food. So without going overboard, but to at least get those flavors to make these bland vegetables, for the most part, a little bit more enjoyable. So in a salad such as this, where I have lettuce and cucumbers, not a lot of flavor to those two things. I have the bell peppers. So the bell peppers have a little bit of sweetness, so that when I add the olive oil and the salt, the fats and the salts really help to balance out some of that sweetness. If I was to add in some fruit or something that does have a little bit more sugar into it, even when I've put the yams on there, having the drizzle of olive oil with the salt and the sweetness of the yams is awesome. And without adding a lot of calories and all these kind of pre-mixed, extra fatty salad dressings, you've created a really great tasting salad and a really great tasting salad dressing. If you also wanted to get a little bit of the sweetness in there, not overly sweet, but a little bit of sweetness out of the dressing, you can actually add in a little bit of balsamic vinegar here, which is nice. So you would have essentially the olive oil, the balsamic vinegar, and if you wanted to still add in a little bit of salt, might not be necessary, but these three things you can actually do a lot with: the olive oil, the balsamic vinegar, and the salt. And the great thing is you can change the quantities of each of those things, because really we have a fat, we have a carbohydrate, since this is grape based, and then of course we have that salt there. try that. Mix those up into different quantities and mix and match and see how that works for you. It's really great way to add in a lot of flavor without a tremendous amount of calories. See you tomorrow.